Basically, don't get so caught up in how other people's marriages and relationships are that you lose sight on creating beautiful ways that you and your loved one carry.
Catch a break, give a pretty brown girl her space. You can keep your bitter, I'ma make a better way. Hey, hey, already got the world on me. Give a pretty brown girl her space.
Hey girl, hey, Chris here once again. Hope you guys are doing well and staying safe. So as you guys can see from the title, we're going to be doing a convos with Chris. Oh my gosh, I haven't done those in a while, about singleness and relationships and all that good stuff. I wish I would have done a chit chat, get ready with me, but I already did my makeup, so we'll try to do it the next time. So surprisingly, I've been getting asked to talk about this topic, and I'm like, y'all, I am not a relationship guru. I am not a relationship coach. I am no relationship expert, honey, okay? My friends and even you guys, my beautiful followers and subscribers, have requested for me to talk about this topic. I told you I'm listening. I'm taking note of everything you guys want me to record and film, so we're gonna talk about that right here, right now. So without any further ado, let's get it. First, are you subscribed, girl? If not, please stop what you're doing before we talk about this topic. Subscribe and hit the notification bell twice so that way you're notified every time I post a video. So Troy is sleeping, so I'm going to try to be quick as possible, but also if I'm talking too low, I am sorry. I just got to make sure that he gets his nap. Like I said, I've gotten asked to talk about this topic, so I have a few things that I want to share, just that were placed in my heart. I always ask God, like, what should I talk about and how can I get my message out to the world? So I just have a few things that I want to share. As you guys know, I am married. I am a wife and mom of 3, and this year we will be celebrating 10 years of marriage. Crazy to even process that information. So of course I've learned a lot within my marriage as a wife, but prior to getting married I learned a lot that prepared me for this season of my life. I'm gonna share a lot about the singleness, but also intertwine it with what else I'm learning within my marriage, what helped me in my single season that helped me to be more prepared in my marriage. My first tip is, first of all, you need to seek God first. I know when we hear that, we think, oh, well, you know, I'm not a diehard Christian, or, you know, I'm not a Bible thumper, you know, I don't always seek God about everything, which you should, first of all. But 2, you don't have to be a Bible thumper or a Jehovah's Witness. You don't have to be holier than thou to seek God about an answer. I think as a society, we are so quick to do things on our own because we're trying to manifest this thing. Our steps are literally ordered by the Lord, whether we believe it or not. And so when it comes to anything in life, we need to seek Him first for our answers. He'll reveal it to us. That's why He says, ask and you shall receive. If you lack wisdom, ask the homie. He got you. So when it comes to your singleness, and being single can be a blessing, but sometimes it can be lonely. And so in that season, you just ask God, like, what do I need to work on in this season that will prepare me for the next? Because most women desire to be married. There's women that don't, and that is totally fine, girl. I commend you. You know, I commend you because you have no ties. You have all the freedom in the world. You can sleep when you want, eat when you want, travel when you want, girl. There are women that desire to be married, which there's nothing wrong with that as well, because we are not meant to be in this world alone. I feel like you just need to seek God in a way where He is leading you and guiding you in that season, because He could be leading you to start this business. He could be leading you to start a church. He could be leading you to, you know, travel the world, travel abroad, you know, start this cancer treatment. Like, He's leading and guiding all of us, whether we believe it or not. Some people may not be in a season to be married because He has a calling on their life that He's trying to fulfill first before bringing in that person. Especially if you yearn for marriage or a relationship or whatever the case may be, you're going to be tempted. God is not a God of temptations. Nothing can tempt God. All the noise, all the things that we see and hear on social media in real life, you know, it's tempting. It is very tempting, but we have to remember that nothing can tempt God. As long as your life is ordered by Him, all the noise, lovey-dovey things that we see online and stuff like that, you won't be too focused on that, because you're focused on the calling that God has for you. So seek him first. In your single season, just seek him first. Let him lead you and guide you in that season. And before you know it, you'll see why in this season he has you by yourself, because he's preparing you for something that is greater. So that goes into my second point. Enjoy your single season. When I look back on my single season, I truly enjoyed myself, okay? Like, I had no ties. I took myself out to eat weekly. It's funny because, you know, solo dates are becoming a thing that we see online and offline. Honey, I was doing that before. I was doing that before it was even a title. But that's the thing I hate about social media. It's like everything that we do has a title, and it's like, why can't we just do things without titling it? Like, if I want to go out to eat by myself, I don't want it to be called a solo date. I'm just going out to eat by myself because it's something that I enjoy doing, even as a married woman. I took myself out to eat. I made sure my eyebrows are done, my nails done, my hair done, all the things. I traveled by myself. When I was living with my dad, my grandpa, you know, I moved to New York for a little bit. I truly enjoyed myself because I had the freedom to do it. Like, I had no ties, nothing was stopping me, but also I was just truly living and enjoying myself. Or some people are single, they have this yearning for love that they miss out on loving themselves. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I feel like you truly have to love yourself before somebody can love you even more. Like, when somebody comes in to love you, it should amplify the love that you already have. The true love that you receive should come in, and it should feel natural, it should feel organic, but also it should soften you up. It's like it takes the weight off of you to be the strong, independent woman. It took me years to free myself of that independent woman, because there were times where I'm like, babe, I don't need you to do that for me, or, you know, I need to go back to work. I need to make money. I don't want to stay at home. I need to make money, okay? Like, I can't depend just on you. It took me some time to really break free of that independence, because I truly enjoyed my singleness. I took care of myself. I worked. I traveled. I lived. I partied. I clubbed. I drank. I did all the things, you know what I'm saying? But it's because I loved taking care of myself. Like, I had to love myself before real love could come to me, because I couldn't depend on anybody else to love me the way that I love myself. And if I had to depend on somebody for self-worth and my self-esteem, I knew it wasn't gonna work, because they could tell me I'm pretty all day, every day, and then be cheating behind my back. You know what I'm saying? You have to know your worth. You have to have boundaries. You have to have standards. You have to love yourself. And so in your single season, I want you to truly love yourself. Like, love your flaws and all. Love your love handles. Love your triple D's. Love your, you know, big booty. Love your synthetic wigs. Love everything about you, so that way when love comes in, it's like, oh, okay, he loves me. And you just know. If you know, you know. And so the next tip is, don't be afraid to have deal breakers and non-negotiable. Two-part one right here. Oh, hold on, choice up. We all have our ideal man. We all have our dream man. How we want him to look, and what we want him to drive, and this and that and this and that. Now, that's not how God works, okay? God is not going to give you who you want. He's going to give you who you need, okay? If you guys have watched my videos before, you guys know that I had a type. Before meeting the big guy, yes, I did have a type, because I was living in Maryland. Just something about the DC, Maryland swag that I just really like the accents. I just love the whole vibe, the go-go, the Nike boots, the North Face. Oh my God, like, I just loved it. Like I told y'all, I used to love me some Wale. I still do, but he was like my crush. Jeezy was my crush when I was about that life. Which I really wasn't, but in my head I was about that life. But when I moved to Maryland, it was just something about that DC swag. I just loved the accents, the dreads. Wale was definitely like my ideal man, but obviously God had a whole different plan. But when it came to deal breakers, I knew for one, they had to be a Christian, and they had to love God the way that I love God. God is the most important man in my life. He comes first before anybody, anything. I just got baptized again for the sake of time, and I knew my relationship with God was very, very important. So if I can't have a conversation with you about God and about Christianity and all the things, if we couldn't have conversations like that, we were unequally yoked, point blank period. And so with the big guy, he's Catholic, and I grew up AME Zion. So with Catholicism and growing up AME Zion, you know, there's two different ways of growing up in the church, but we both love God. It was just, when it comes to the spiritual aspect of it, it was perfect because we were on the same level spiritually. There was other deal breakers, like, you know, I didn't really care what he did. He was working, he wanted to grow, you know, evolve. Please y'all don't, because I know girls love to tussle with this, but a big deal breaker for me was somebody without kids. Not that I wouldn't have settled for somebody who had kids, but that was a big thing for me, just because of the things I experienced with guys who had kids. I grew up without a father, and he really wasn't present in my life until I got a little older. Then, and I had a stepdad, but me and my stepdad really didn't have the best relationship, and most times I felt like he didn't love me. I was traumatized by that, to be real. And so as I got older and started meeting and dating, the guy that I met and started dating when I was 16 or 17, I can't remember. I told him that I prefer, because at the time, you know, people in high school were having kids and popping out babies and stuff like that. And so I told him that because I had a friend at the time. So I had a friend, and we weren't dating, but we were like really, really close. That people thought we were dating, but we weren't. And apparently he got a girl pregnant, and so they ended up kind of dating, I think. I can't remember. It's been since high school, because we were close and she was pregnant by him. Kind of caused some strife between me and the girl, even though we weren't cool. And so that was one situation. And then fast forward to this other situation with the guy I was dating. He ended up getting somebody pregnant. Either he got her pregnant while we were dating, or she was pregnant before we started dating and he never told me. And so she popped up one day with a whole belly, and I'm like, oh, what is this? I don't really like talking about this situation, but basically, same thing, started talking to a guy and told him, you know, hey, this is my preference. And I guess me sharing that kind of made him not want to tell me. One thing about me is I'm going to find out the truth regardless. People may think, oh, okay, she's not going to find out, or no, honey, I'm going to find out regardless. That's why with my kids, they know, don't hide nothing from me, because I'm going to find out. Discernment is real, and God will reveal everything to me, because what's done in the dark will come to the light. Back in the day, I used to be a private investigator. Like, anything I wanted to find, as long as I went looking, I will find it. Long story short, basically on Facebook, he was tagged in some baby pictures, thought it was his sibling, thought it was his cousin, whole time it was his kid, and that kind of turned me off, and that was a red flag immediately. If you have the audacity to lie about having a child, you're gonna lie about other things. So that was a big red flag. When you don't know your worth, and you don't have self-esteem, you entertain things because you're either stigmatized or you are just wanting to settle. And yeah, so I say all that to say there's nothing wrong with having deal breaker. Like I said, it's not that I wouldn't have, but because of the things I experienced when it came to that, it was something that I was very, very strong about, and I had to pray about it. And that's what I'm saying. If you seek God, he will truly give you the desires of your heart. And so now to have somebody, which caught me off guard, because my husband's older, so when we met, I just assumed, first of all, I thought he was already married, and I thought he already had kids. Homeboy was single as a dollar bill. So that's why I'm just like, wow, God. It's just crazy to know, like, the little things that truly make a difference in your life. He will grant that for you. The big guy, he was never married, never had kids. When people see our nephews on my vlogs or my TikToks, they think that it's his son, and it's like, no, like, he has an older brother who has been married for 20 plus years. They have 2 boys. The big guy was the only friend of his at the time who was single, no kids. When he met me, I was just a young single girl, fresh into grad school, just, starting a new job and everything. And so he was straight up like, look, I'm not trying to play no games. I'm ready to settle down. I'm ready to get married, have kids. I'm not for the game. So he was so firm about it, and just so like, Like, that turned me on. And that just goes to show you, like, he knew what he wanted. And so I say all that to say, when it comes to your deal breakers and your non-negotiables, you want somebody who knows what they want. Because if they don't, if they're just wanting to just casually date, or they just want to have somebody just to have, or they just want to travel the world, I mean, to each his own. When a man wants something, nothing in the world is going to stop them from getting that, okay? And it's just nothing, there's nothing like knowing a man knows what he wants, and also you know what you want, so that way when you guys come together, it's like, hey, well, let's do this. And that's kind of how it was for us. It was just like, hey, well, it was just like, oh, okay, well, let's do it, you know? So, and here we are almost 10 years later. It's one of those things where, like, you have to have discernment about, but also you just have to have standards when it comes to pursuing a man. Men just knowing what they want, being ready to take that leap and settle down. Or also women, shoot your shot. I was always that woman that I'm not approaching a man. Like, I'm not, no, if he wants me, he's got to pursue me. My husband is the biggest introvert I know, okay? Like, when it comes to conversations, like, I have to speak on our behalf because he doesn't want to talk to people. He doesn't want to talk, you know, he's such a sweetheart and I love him so much. But when it comes to communication, he will not talk to you unless you converse with him first. Now, he will talk to you. Let me not say that. He will talk to you, but most times he won't initiate a conversation because he's an introvert. And if you're an introvert, y'all, that's how y'all are wired, okay? Me, as an extrovert, I'm like, hey, girl, what's up? Oh, your hair look good. Yes, lashes. Like, I'm gonna just talk to you. If I see a stranger with some cute shoes, I'm like, yeah, shoes. Like, that's just how I am. Him, no. I shot my shot. I was like, hey, you know, I'm Chrissy, how you doing? And it's history from there. So there's nothing wrong with shooting your shot. You know, you just have to make sure you guys are on the same pursuit and it's going somewhere. Because why settle for somebody that is not going to take you anywhere? You know what I'm saying? Like, life is too short to be boggled down by somebody that's just gonna lead you to nowhere, okay? We're not going nowhere. We're trying to go places, because that's another deal breaker. I knew that I wanted a man that I can build a legacy with, a man that I can build a life with, a beautiful life with. We can build a legacy, generational wealth, break generational curses, create beautiful babies, create a big family, just travel the world together, and just do things that I've always hoped and prayed for. And here I am, and I'm just so happy that God is so good. And the same can happen for you, y'all. It can happen for you. So don't ever feel like you're not worthy of love, that it won't happen for you, or even if it's not your choice, that's fine. You know, I think we are in a society where, like, we bash people for not wanting kids or marriage, and you have people who are in marriages and have kids who are unhappy. I am a married woman, and honestly, I cringe at marriage relationship videos. Not to shade anything or anybody. It creates this reality that this is how it's supposed to go. And most people only share the good stuff, like how they, you know, go on date nights and how they do staycations and stuff like that. But nobody really talks about the hard SHIT that comes with it. And so it gives off this false reality that, oh, okay, as long as we go on a date night, everything's good. Oh, as long as we are paying the bills together, everything's good. Oh, as long as I can have a mommy date to myself, it's all good. No, it's not. Marriage is hard. And that's why I feel like when we are in our singleness, God is doing something with us to prepare us for the hard things that come with. Because you are two individuals coming from two walks of life. You have your black and black, black and white, black and Asian, Asian white. You are coming from two walks of life. You can be a black girl growing up in the hood, marrying into a man with money. Like, it doesn't matter. You're two humans coming from all different types of walks of life, and you guys have different perspectives. You guys were raised differently. Some people never experienced trauma. Some people have. Some people grew up seeing their parents parent this kind of way. Some of them don't. Some people grew up seeing their parents love each other like this. Some didn't. It's two imperfect perfect people coming together to become one, because once you become one, you leave your parents, you leave your family unit to become one in the eyes of the Lord, and you are going to go through things. You are going to go through things. These people go through things that we see online that we would never know. We would never see because they're not going to talk about it, for one. But two, if you were in their shoes, y'all will fall apart quick, okay? And some things I see that I know are happening. People put on fronts all the time, and you could tell when something's off. I wouldn't want to experience that or go through that. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to the things we see online or on TV, basically don't get so caught up in how other people's marriages and relationships are that you lose sight on creating beautiful ways that you and your loved one, like if I were to consume so much marriage advice and all these videos, oh okay, well, you know, this person did this, they said if you do this, this works, and then I try to do it and it doesn't work. Everybody's relationships and marriages are going to work according to how you make it work. Like, there's nothing wrong with taking advice, but in the end of the day, you have to do what works for you and your family unit. That's why I feel like that's why we've lasted this long, because we do what works for us. You know, we don't have to go to Bora Bora, which we want to. That's on the vision board. We want to go, we want to travel the world together, but we don't have to do those things yet, out of our means just yet, to have a good time. We could just go straight up to San Antonio, go to the Riverwalk, get a nice hotel, watch Family Guy, because that's usually what we do when we go to hotels. We watch Family Guy or Rick and Morty or American Guy together while the kids are asleep. Wait for the kids to go to sleep first. But that's what we do. You know, that's what we do to unwind and to relax before going to bed. You know, my husband's not really into designer things and, you know, luxury things and stuff, but that doesn't mean that he won't buy that for me. It's not something that he grew up doing, so I don't expect him to have to do that for me. That he does it or he wants to, you know, save up to do that to make me happy. It's the little things. And so I think as long as you do what works for you in your relationship, in your marriage, and even in your singleness, you will come off a lot better than the people I hear that are trying to give advice for likes, views, and all the things. I'm not trying to shade anybody, but when people do that, and then a few months later, you know, they're not even in the videos with their husband and spouse anymore, you realize, like, well, dang, well, how you gonna preach to the choir when y'all in shambles behind the scenes? Like, it's just one of those things where you just have to use discernment. You need to seek God, enjoy your singleness, and just pray. Like, just enjoy every single moment leading into that moment. And also remember, God is a God of timeliness, and before you know it, you know, you might be engaged or you might be dating somebody for 2 months, and then the next month he proposes for you, and y'all only been together for 3 months, but y'all been married for 20 years. If you truly let God write your love story and just lead you and guide you along the way, you will see that things will work out how it's supposed to work out and according to the plan that he has for you. Okay, so like I said, I'm no relationship guru, I'm no expert, but I asked God to just give me the wisdom to share what I needed to share with y'all. Feel free to share any tips, especially those who have been married for a while. If you guys have any tips to give to my single ladies or vice versa, let me know down below. If you want to share any deal breakers, non-negotiables, feel free to share down below as well. If you guys would like more videos like this, let me know, and I got you, girl, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Better way.